How's it going, everyone? Going live here on Friar Talk. Just gonna be me today. Chase, Isaac. I think Chase is at work. I think they're both at work, and we didn't want to record too late. So wanted to get it out before Thursday Night Football started, but go over this series pretty quickly. I don't think it's gonna be a very long episode today. I'm probably thinking like 15 to 20, just because it's only me in this one. But overall, even though the Padres don't end up winning this one, I think this was just a huge series win overall. I feel like we were talking about this series heading into it, where it was like, all right, this is a good kind of I guess like a litmus test sort of for the Padres postseason chances and kind of what we were expecting to see from them. And they looked really good. Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove, phenomenal outings from them. I think the offense, maybe there was a little bit to be desired there, but it's nothing where I'm like super upset. Today, Nick Martinez is kind of the guy that ends up getting beat. But also kind of tough on Nick Martinez, because I feel like if we're looking at it from okay, why did the Padres lose this one? I mean, it's not all on Nick Martinez, just because we saw that he comes on with two guys on base in that one. And that was Adrian Morejon, just because we've actually talked about this quite a bit. I know Chase has brought it up multiple times, but Adrian Morejon, when he comes in for that second inning, that's where he struggled a lot. So it was unfortunate to see that happen, and then you end up getting that grand slam in the seventh inning. The Manny Machado home run, I feel like that was pretty cool to see, just because, I mean, he was pumped. He was super pumped late in the game, home run, like that was nice to see. But unfortunately, the Padres aren't able to get it done in this one. But first couple games in the series, the Cardinals didn't score, and the Cardinals were really struggling. When we were talking about this series beforehand on Tuesday, we brought up the Mike Clevenger outing, and we were super scared, Isaac and I. And we didn't really feel like that was going to be one where we would see Mike Clevenger really pitch that well. He ended up going out there pitching really well. I mean, all of the Padres starters did amazing this series. I think Musgrove allowed one run, and that was the single run allowed from everyone in that series. So overall, the Padres magic number is going down and down. I know that right now or at least let me double check, but the Brewers were winning last time I checked. Heading in today, the Padres magic number was 9. And if you're not familiar with that, magic number is basically like combined wins and losses from the team that you're trying to compete with for a playoff spot. So the Padres are in a really good spot when it comes to making the playoffs. I think right now it's really just about, are these guys going to get right at the right time? Like, are we going to see everyone kind of clicking? We've mentioned a little bit, like Juan Soto, Josh Bell being really hot is going to be huge when it comes to the playoff time. The rotation has kind of been up and down, like not even up and down. The rotation has been really down over the past couple months. So I feel like this series, if we're going to have any takeaways, it's that the Padres just pitched 3 of their guys. 2 of them are going to pitch against, if the Padres are to play the Cardinals in a playoff series, a 3-game series. 2 of those guys are going to pitch against the Cardinals in that series if it is a full 3-game series, in Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove, and they combine for 7? I mean, Blake Snell was unbelievable. So they combine for 12 innings and allow a single run. That is a good sight to see. So I'm really happy after this series. I feel like I would say that maybe the past few weeks, maybe, it's just been kind of rough when you look at it from the Padres. It feels like the energy has kind of been down. I think we've all been feeling that, but I feel like the past week or so, it's been real exciting to be watching these games and seeing the Padres play really well lately. I see Irie says almost a sweep. Just not to win more than 5 games in a row. I mean, 6 games in a row would have been sick. I was really feeling it. I'm not gonna lie. I was really feeling it, because it seemed like, okay, like this, they're gonna come back. Like I feel I have like some confidence in the bats. Unfortunately, they're not able to get it done. Snell was ridiculous. Okay, same thing. Both these 2 games, I was really excited watching them. I was pulling hard for Snell to throw that no-hitter. And I do wonder if Bob Melvin would have kept him in, just because it would have been 120, 130 pitches to go the distance in that one. But I honestly kind of feel like they would have just kept him in there. I don't think they would have pulled him. So I was happy to see that was the case, where he ended up not going that far. That might be kind of maybe not happy to see it, but it might be something where we look back and go, it's probably good that Blake Snell didn't pitch 120 plus pitches in this one. So yeah, I mean, definitely not the best way to lose a series today. I see Cobra says Bob lost us this game. I don't know if Bob lost us this game, but I didn't love the decision of keeping Adrian Morejon out there for the second inning. Like I said, like it doesn't really work too well. Pierce Johnson, Tim Hill, they look good out of the pen. Musgrove looked pretty good after, he's had some rocky starts as of late. Lizzie says Profar had a good game today. Dude, Profar, I mean, we were talking about it before the series started. Profar has been slumping so bad. So for him to kind of be the main piece of the offense, he obviously leads the game off with the home run, but then he had that gapper in, I think, was it the fifth inning? I think it was the fifth inning. So that was really good to see. I'm real happy with where this team is at right now. It seems like they're in a pretty good spot overall. The pitching has been really good. The pitching has been amazing out of the pen lately. The starters kind of been and we saw the starters pitching really well today. So if all of a sudden, if you have the offense has sparked up a lot as well, if you have the offense sparking up, you have the bullpen performing, because the bullpen has been really good. Outside of today, the bullpen has been really good. If I'm looking at kind of where I'm concerned for this team, we can bring up Grisham. Grisham has been terrible. He struck out 3 times today. He's just been really bad lately. It seems like he's not even really the starting center fielder anymore. And we talked about it not that long ago of like, yeah, Grisham's probably not the starter, or he shouldn't be the starter. And that kind of seems like how it is right now. Devin asked, are you concerned about Josh Bell? That was probably the other guy I was going to bring up of who I'm concerned about. I mean, Josh Bell walked twice today, but Josh Bell has been, we talked about it. Josh Bell's been bad in a Padres uniform. There's not really another way to put it besides like he has played really poorly. I don't know if he's even hitting 200 right now with the Padres. I don't believe he is. He didn't look that great this series. I think he's hitting under 200 on the Padres, and I think that I know that his slugging is also under 300 as well. So he has not been good. I think that he's probably the main piece of, and of course, Soto getting like really hot at the right time would be fantastic. But Profar hopefully turns around a little bit. I haven't even mentioned Campusano. Campusano looks really good. I feel like when Campusano got called up, it was kind of like, okay, like what is this, his third or fourth? I think it's his third time getting called up. And it's like, okay, we haven't really seen too much of him when he's came up. A lot of question marks defensively. I feel like he's looked pretty good defensively. When Musgrove has been on the mound, like today, he's done really well with Joe Musgrove. So he did that again today. Another hit. He had a ribby in this one, even though it's kind of a weird, I don't want to say a fluke ribby, but it's a little bit weird because the relay throw went off the mound. But yeah, I feel like if I'm kind of looking at who I'm concerned at right now in terms of the lineup, it's gotta be Josh Bell at the number 1 spot, because Grisham, like we can bring up Grisham and we can complain about Grisham, but like I said, Grisham's not even really starting at this point. Like he's probably playing a third of the time. So Azokar's been in there more often than not. Where if Bell's not in the lineup, it means Myers is in the lineup. And you would obviously rather have Josh Bell at his best, or not even at his best, just Josh Bell generally over Will Myers. But Mel has been really bad. Yeah, Ivory says Bell has been worse than Myers. Cobra says Bell has been worse than Hosmer. Dude, he has. Now, keep in mind, how many at-bats does he actually have on the Padres? I'm going to look this up right now. Josh Bell's stats. Let's see how many at-bats he has in San Diego. So, 151 at-bats in 42 games. He's hitting 199, 35 strikeouts, only 3 bombs. Not crazy amount of strikeouts, really. But he just hasn't really had a lot of power. Hasn't really produced. I think that he is probably the person that I'm looking at heading into the postseason, where that's the guy that needs to get right before the playoffs start, because he's likely going to be hitting 5th or 6th in the lineup. I know he's been hitting 6 a lot lately. Ideally, you have him hitting 5th, maybe even cleanup, but he's just not performing well enough right now. So I think kind of heading into Colorado. Hey, Colorado, I saw that. Who was it? Justin says your Achilles heel is at Colorado. Lost 12 of the last 13. Of course, that's insane. I did not realize it had been that bad. I was going to say as kind of a positive thing for playing Colorado is maybe that's a little offensive boost and Josh Bell can get right. But, dude, that's crazy. 12 out of 13 losses in Colorado. Holy crap. That's a great stat. Great stat there. Devin asked the question right here. I'll just keep going through the questions for a little bit because it's only me today. But were you upset about the Padres only scored 1 run yesterday? Not saying the win is unearned, but I felt uneasy when leading a run against a good team like the Cardinals. I mean, yeah, I felt a little bit uneasy. I wouldn't say like I wasn't upset because Blake Snell was just ridiculous. Like that was the main storyline of that game. Would you like to see the Padres consistently score more than one run? 100%. You're not going to win many games scoring a single run. But if we go back a little bit, today they score 4 runs. The day before, on Tuesday, they score 5 runs. On Sunday, they score 6. 2 against the Diamondbacks, 12 against the Diamondbacks the game before that, and then before that, the offense wasn't looking too good. But lately, they have been playing a lot better offensively, so I do think that's a big sign. I don't think you obviously don't want him to score 1 run. That's bad. But like I wasn't too concerned just because I was more excited about how well Snell has been playing. Just because guys like Snell I want to see Snell's second half numbers because we talked about him. I mean, we talked about it so much early on this season. And also, I want to put this out here right now. I was thinking about this the other day. Next year, when Blake Snell comes out and he sucks in April and May, we cannot panic. We brought it up this year. Don't panic. He's going to turn around. He's going to end up being a very valuable player. He has been stupid good in the second half. He's probably going to be the same way next year too. So let's not freak out about it. But I've been pumped about Blake Snell. Cobra asks, and let me see those second half numbers real quick, just because lately, I mean, his ERA is down to a 3.6. I mean, it's not like he has crazy numbers, but it's more about just like how confident I feel about him on the mound right now. Okay, I'm getting these splits up right now, so bear with me, guys. Let's see. Okay. Oh my God, last 7 days, Snell's ERA is 0.6. Or 7, I think it's 7 games is what it's supposed to be. It shows 7 days. That can't be the last 7 games. That's actually days. That's a weird split. Okay, so far, Blake Snell in July, 2.81 ERA. In August, 2.81 ERA. In September/October, they combine them. Obviously, it's just been September, 2.63 ERA. So Snell has been really good for 3 months. That's amazing, dude. So Snell has been really good lately. Drury, I see a question about Drury. Is Drury going on a slump from Cobra? I mean, if we look at Drury's numbers in San Diego, he hasn't really hit for a high average. It's been pretty up and down, but he's just flashed a ton of power, and I think that's why we've all been happy with how he's been playing. But I don't think he's hitting over 220. He's very susceptible. Like today, going 0 for 4. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts today. I think that's going to happen a lot with Drury, but occasionally you're going to see a couple home runs. You're going to see a lot of power from him. And I think that's ideally why you don't really want him hitting cleanup behind Soto and Machado, just because he is susceptible for going 0 for 4. And going back, because I was just talking about Josh Bell, that's why you want Josh Bell to be playing well, because Josh Bell is a guy that typically he's the guy that brings in a lot of runs. He's a great cleanup hitter. He's a great guy to drive in Manny and Soto a lot. Where Drury, out of like the 5th or the 6th spot, it's a good spot for him because he has that power. So occasionally you're going to have a few guys on base and he's going to hit a bomb, where it's not as much of like, all right, 1 out, like you need to get a hit. Machado's on second or Soto's on second or whoever it is, or 2 outs, 2 outs and 1 guy on. That's a great spot where Bell is usually good and should flourish in. But we just haven't really seen that too much. Going kind of back to the bullpen into pitching, Justin says Hader was electric last night. I mean, I feel a lot more confident in Hader now. Like I'm not too worried about him. I was kind of I think everyone was panicking a little bit just because it was like, dude, this guy's broken. Like he looks totally broken. Hader's calmed down a little bit. Hader looks like he's fine. It was really weird when we traded for him, and immediately he comes out and is god awful. So I've been happy to see Hader kind of turning it around. Jaron says Cronenworth is a huge concern offensively. He left a village on the bases. He's a key with along with Bell / Drury for this offense to really succeed. I mean, you're exactly right in terms of like how those guys succeeding, that 4, 5, 6, however you put it, because that's probably going to be your 4, 5, 6 pretty consistently. I don't see a Kim or a Myers or someone kind of stepping into that role. I don't feel like Cronenworth has been that bad offensively. I want to see his recent splits. He definitely hasn't been good. It's definitely not someone that's like, oh yeah, like it's been amazing. He has not been very good. It's definitely been a down year for him. Let's see. Splits. Last 15 games. Last 7 games, Cronenworth's hitting 120 with a 160 slugging. I mean, yeah, not too exciting over the last 30 games. Either 231, just over like he has like a 660 OPS, not too good. I don't feel like I feel like he's one of the guys I kind of like when guys are on base and he comes up though. Just because I feel like I don't know. I get what you're saying because lately it has not felt like this, but typically I feel pretty confident with Cronenworth there. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel, I don't. Cronenworth hasn't been good offensively. That's the thing, but I typically feel pretty comfortable with him. Um, seeing what else we got here. Yeah, seeing enormous hate for Cronengod. That's the thing. I see a lot of hate for Cronengod too. I see Devin says that. Um, Yeah, I still think that he gets kind of ripped too much, but he still produces a decent amount. It's just like ideally, like Cronenworth's not your third best hitter. Like he shouldn't be like that. He should be like your fifth or your sixth best hitter in your lineup. And that's usually why he should be like a hitter like in the sixth spot or be hitting higher, but be more in a role where he's not having to be a huge producer where he's hitting like I don't know, not really third because that's not ideal, but maybe early on, like maybe I don't know. I don't really know what you want to do with Cronenworth. I think you probably want to hit him sixth, and have. I mean, ideally, I think you go Profar, Soto, Machado, Bell. If he's playing well, which he's not, Drury, then Cronenworth, where Cronenworth's offensive output doesn't matter as much just because he's been so productive in terms of combining offensive and defense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Cronenworth has definitely had a down year, so it's been a little bit frustrating. Yeah, Lizzie says Cron hits better in the sixth or seventh spot. I think so too, and I think that's typically where you'd want him at. CV Production says the Padres did really well not letting Goldie get big hits on the Padres. Yeah, I mean, the Padres pitching was phenomenal this series. If you take away a grand slam, they allowed a single run over 3 games. Now, you can't take away a grand slam, but it was one swing of the bat that kind of ended up making them lose that game. I feel a lot more confident going into a series against the Cardinals because we had talked about it before. The Padres typically don't play the Cardinals very well. They don't hit Wainwright that well, but they looked good this series. Their pitching was incredible outside of a Morajón Martinez kind of a little bit of a collapse there. Seeing what else we got. I said people talking about Cronenworth in the chat. Would you okay, here's a good one. And I think I might take off a little bit after this, but Justin says, would you prefer to play in the wild card series St. Louis or Atlanta? I'd rather play St. Louis. Atlanta's staff is ridiculous. I don't want to mess with that. Now, you could look at this at it and kind of be like, oh, you're gonna have to play Arenado and Goldschmidt and Goldie in that spot, like where those are like the superstar players that are playing at an MVP caliber level. I think Goldie's gonna win MVP in the NL. I think that's probably your favorite right now, and I mean he has over 1,000 OPS. He's been really, really good. So I think that's kind of like the spot where you're like, oh, I don't really want to play St. Louis, but in Atlanta, you're going against a really, really rough 1, 2, 3 there. So I think that's why I would favor going with St. Louis. Also, we have to toss in the Mets in this discussion too. The Mets are the least one you want to play if Scherzer and DeGrom are healthy. But yeah, I think that probably out of those 3 teams, St. Louis, Atlanta, and the Mets, I think St. Louis has got to be the one that you're hoping to play in that. And it's not like St. Louis is like, oh yeah, they suck. You're gonna like destroy them. No, it's not like that. It's just that those other pitching staffs are dirty, dude. Like you really don't want to meet up with some of these guys. I mean, we've seen the year that Spencer Strider's had. Like he's been absurd. I don't want to play against him. He's been ridiculous. See what else we got. Are the Pods a playoff caliber team now taking the series against St. Louis? I mean, they're definitely been a playoff caliber team the whole season. Like maybe not like there's ups and downs, but they've been in a playoff spot basically the entire year. They might have been in a playoff spot. Have they been in the playoff spot the whole year, every single game? They might have. They're definitely a playoff caliber team. I think the question is, are they a legit contender? Because making the playoffs and being a true contender, like, oh, we're gonna be able to hang and do like hang with these good teams with these good pitching staffs, are, in my opinion, are 2 different questions. Because we can see a team that goes to the playoffs and then doesn't have the star power, doesn't have the pitching to truly compete. Darvish, Snell, Musgrove as your 1, 2, 3 heading into a playoff series is pretty good. Now, Mania, I don't think we want to see him in a playoff series. Clev, up until last start, he had been really, really bad. So I don't think you had kind of wanted to see him there. Hopefully he can get a couple good starts in here before the season ends where we feel a little bit more comfortable as him as that fourth guy in the playoff rotation. But I don't know. I think that's pretty good. So see, Jimmy also asked here, when we see Bell go off, dude, I hope soon, man. I really, really like Josh Bell. And it's been really unfortunate to see him struggle so much early on. And he got a walk late in the game. That's about the highlight for the series with Bell. But I really hope we see Bell turn around before the playoffs start or in the playoffs. And when Isaac and I went live before the series started, we actually talked about Josh Bell because we're actually maybe that was the video that we're going to post tomorrow that we talked about this. But we were talking about Josh Bell recently, and we basically said, hey, look, Josh Bell has really struggled, but he's also the kind of guy that would struggle for the whole season and then just tear it up in the playoffs where it's like, oh, all is forgiven, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about Josh Bell. I don't want to rip on him. He's been so good throughout his career. His numbers are just really, really down right now, and it sucks to watch. With that said, I don't really have too much more. I see people saying, hopefully goes off in the Dodgers series. I think Bell is feeling the pressure to perform. I definitely think he is. I honestly feel like Josh Bell is kind of the key for the Padres to have a deep playoff run. Of course, you're going to need Soto, Machado, Darvish, Snell, like all those guys to play well. But I'm going into it feeling pretty confident with the core of players that we've seen really hot lately. But those other guys, those Josh Bells, those Jake Cronenworths, like we talked about, and I see Jaron ended up responding about that. I know you love Croney, but like I think you had a fair point of like we need him to play well. So, yep, I think that there's a couple guys in this lineup where you're like these guys are going to be the ones that take us over the top. We'll see if that ends up playing out, but I think that's probably going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for hopping on. Sorry for not going super long. We will have a video out tomorrow. It's about just kind of the new performers. It's about Josh Bell. It's about Soto, Hader, Drury, kind of just talking about them. And then at the end of the episode, we kind of talk about our thoughts on bringing them back currently where it all stands. But I think that's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for hopping on. Sorry it's only me today. Sorry it's only a short episode, but really pumped that we were able to take this series from the Cardinals. I think it is a good kind of test for what caliber team we are against these high-end teams or playoff teams. But with that said, thanks, guys. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, and we'll be back tomorrow. Me and Isaac will have a video out, and then over the weekend, I'm hoping we'll be able to go live on Sunday. If not Sunday, then we'll go live on Monday. But with that said, have a great night, and talk to you guys soon.